and can share it after. But thanks for showing up, everybody. Really excited to kind of share some stuff about what we've been up to. This is going to be one of our first sort of tutorials on the product stack or the tech stack that we've been using. Ultimately, we do want to get a lot of people involved in this and using and building. And, you know, we have a number of different plans and possibilities that we're mapping out as we keep developing Collabland and Abridged. And, you know, one of those would be that we actually incentivize people to build on this tech stack through a token mechanism, and they can sort of submit templates that they create to then be rewarded by the community and also by others who are using that that flow or that application flow that they build within Node-RED. So feel free to ask questions. Don't worry about interrupting. I'm just going to go through a quick slide presentation to kind of get everyone up to speed with what we're going to review today. And then we can get into the actual demo. And what we've done is created a little environment for LexDAO to play around in and get familiar with Node-RED. And then today we're going to display a few limited features to kind of get up to speed so that you all can chew on that and kind of begin the learning curve. And then we can schedule another one of these. You know, we could even make this a weekly thing depending on the appetite. So I'll be excited to hear what your all's feedback is. So just to get started, Node-RED is what we will be building with primarily today. And this is a visual development interface using Node.js. It's open source and it's supported by IBM. And you can really think of Node-RED as money Legos. If you've seen Austin Griffith with ETH Build or ETH Build, he's been building one of these platforms from the ground up. And what we've done is use Node-RED because it already has a lot of different APIs integrated and a lot of Web 2 hooks that we can leverage. So it's a really robust system out of the box. Oh, this is a slide that I didn't quite finish, but within today we'll be reviewing the Discord bot system, and we'll be listening. We'll be using the Discord bot to listen and respond to messages in the chat, as well as listening and sending messages within the Discord chat that are coming from the blockchain. And one of the ways that I know that you all are kind of interested in using this is for crypto voxels, and we'd love to support that down the line as we get you up to speed. The way that I was thinking about doing this was to understand, and maybe you all know this already, but understand how the crypto voxels API works to define a specific space and boundary, and then chat permissions within that space. And then we can hook that webhook into Node-RED with our token verification system. Today, we'll go over event listening. And so an event happens every time someone interacts with the blockchain through a contract. And so we'll be listening to actually the DAI contract. And the way that you listen to events is through ABIs. And so we'll teach you guys how to find an ABI and then insert it into Node-RED and listen to different events that are happening within that contract. And then the bot will be sending notifications based on what's happening there. Again, a few future developments. So like the next maybe lesson or something that we could go through would be like an ABI parser, which is a tool that simplifies this process of finding contract code and listening to events and method calls. We can also talk about the token verification system that we've set up, talk about how we can link MetaMask and Abridged SDK. That will actually be managed using Airtable, which we've also been using as a caching layer. So kind of in lieu of integrating the block or the graph protocol as well as block native, you can use Airtable actually with Node-RED to serve similar purposes as both the graph and block native, to cache and listen and send messages. And then, right, integrating the two new interfaces, and then ultimately creating this token flow marketplace. So to get started, could I get someone who's an admin of the LexDAO server?
That would be me or James, right? Yeah, let me know what you need.
Yeah, sweet. I'll ask you to share your screen, and the first thing we're gonna do is go through what the bot looks like that we will be then digging into the back end. So I wanted to show the front end first, show you how to set it up within the Discord server, and then we can understand in the back end what's actually going on and how's this working.
Well, you're in here, right? I'll just give you.
I am. Oh, if you give me admin
access.
permission,
Yeah,
perfect. That's great. Yeah.
So you're good. Let's go ahead and do whatever. That's easier.
Awesome. All right, I will need to clean up my.
Don't break anything. I counted all my chips.
All right, sweet. So here, I'm going to reshare my screen. All right, and I'm just the way that you. So after you create a bot, we can go through a bot creation at some point. It's relatively simple using the Discord developer portal. But once you create the bot, you can create a link that then you add to any server that you're an admin to. And so I'm just going to go down here and add it to LexDAO. And yes, and we will give it admin permissions. Sweet. And now, let's see. Sweet. So the LexDAO bot is now here. The next thing we're going to do is just create a channel. And if you make it a private channel, test bot channel maybe, you can just add the LexDAO bot. And let's see there. So now this channel has the LexDAO bot integrated into it. The next thing that we will do is we're actually going to open this Node-RED instance, which I have here, and I'll show you guys. I'll give this link to you guys at the end of this presentation today. But I'm just going to start this or to make sure I'm up to date. But this is going to be the development environment that you all are building in. And this is where the bot backend lives. Alok is on this call, Alok Talari. He's the lead developer that is really pioneering how we're building these Node-RED systems. And like we have, you know, I want to just give him a ton of credit in making these things work, because it wasn't possible prior. He's definitely the like Node-RED Jedi Master here. So what we have here, and I can show you a few things. So within this channel, I can hit, we just built a simple command where if you type anything to the bot will recognize that through this Discord listener. And then we'll send a message in reply to that command. And so this is like very simple, but it's just the point is that we are able to listen to what's happening in Discord through this flow here. And then we have a function node that is DMing a message that you can find here, and you can modify that if you'd like, to the response of that like note that you send to the bot. And yeah, and then ultimately it's using this Discord DM to send that. And so let's see, I'm a little, the the other piece that this is doing is it's actually listening to the DAI Kovan contract. And so the Kovan contract is being listened to through this flow down here. And it's using a contract event listener to then create a message that is returning the Etherscan transactions of any DAI event that is happening on chain within the Kovan network. The ABI for that contract can be found up here. Oh shoot. In this node here. And so I know I'm a little I'm giving a lot of information here, and to be honest, this is something that we are needing to structure more on our end, as far as making this digestible in a way that people can kind of take a few pieces and run with it and learn, and then iterate on their own to learn more, and then kind of keep moving forward. So I appreciate you all working with us as we're kind of going through that process of setting up a like education material. So let me just see here. All right. One other thing that I need to do is change this channel name into the channel that we just created. So it's the test bot channel. And now the events within Kovan will be added to this channel, and the bot will be sending those events. So these events could also look like DAO votes, for instance, right? So it's a similar process of us setting up the DAO votes within an Aragon DAO, or listening to an Aragon DAO or a Moloch DAO and sending them into a Discord channel or a Telegram channel. Once you make a change within Node-RED, you just hit deploy, and then that change will be added. So pretty soon we should be seeing Etherscan links being populated here by the bot. One thing to think about whenever you are building within these servers is that it's easy to kind of step on each other's toes if multiple people are developing at the same time and deploying code at the same time. There is a way to actually develop locally so that you can avoid that and then merge upstream whenever you have something that you feel like confident in. And setting up a local instance in Node-RED is relatively simple. They have really great documentation for doing so, and happy to kind of walk people through that. So this is the sort of majority of what we wanted to share today. Does anyone have maybe initial questions or needing clarification? I'm sure there's a lot of question marks because I know that I just kind of like ran through a lot of this really quickly.
I mean, this is great so far. In that create message function, is that where you put the text of the message, or does the message text go in the MSG?
So yeah, the create message function, this is actually for the contract listener. And so this is listening to the Kovan DAI contract, which again is put in place here. And the way that it's listening to it is through the ABI code in this here. So in that JSON there. So we will see this I need to make a transaction on Kovan. I wonder, let's see real quick. If I just move to Kovan, I have some, there we go. We have plenty of ETH there. If I just send like to any address, or right, it's Kovan DAI. Do I have DAI in here? Yeah, there we go. So unless this is configured, this configuration is off, and Alok will help me debug it if that's the case. But this transaction should like appear in this channel now. And then the other place that you can change copy, Bill, is like in this function node here. So this is for the DM that the bot will be sending to users who are interacting with it in that channel.
Nice. So basically you've set it up just to kind of bring it into like the framework or the development process. You set your ABIs and then your Discord config, and then you have kind of like one path to listen to kind of user actions in the Discord, and then another path to listen to contract events. And I'm guessing
right.
like as you get more complex, you might have multiple like user messages or pathways, or you just kind of build off of that like kind of mustard green message thing to capture the different messages that users might input into Discord.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. So, and there's plenty of ways to kind of, split this up and stack it. And, like for instance, if you want the bot to be sending messages to multiple locations, you can just fork this or duplicate this flow right here, and then change the channel. And so, I have this in the test bot channel. I also have it in a server down here. So if I add like the Lexdow bot, it should then be also sending messages that are happening within Kovan to the Lexdow bot channel. And so this is what an event looks like right now for that Kovan Etherscan.
And then I think Ross had a quick question about any difference between like Kovan or Rinkeby or other test nets?
Just picky stuff. Yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah, totally. So
That's
the
great.
way that, awesome. Yeah, thanks, Glad. Hope it is. We need to make it more intuitive, essentially, and we're continuing to kind of refine that. But the way that you switch, let's see, Alok, can you show where you're switching networks in this?
Yeah, it's just below that where it says change for rules.
This one?
Yeah, just below
Right.
that. Yeah.
Great. Right. So the payload network is going to define what network the contract that you are, what network you're listening to for a specific contract. So you just can change this to mainnet or Rinkeby.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Really flexible. I was just curious, for your own use and demos, if you prefer Kovan. I'm always just
the reason we do like Kovan because it's the shortest block times.
Sweet. Okay.
So that's just the practical thing.
I don't know what's going to happen. Oh, sorry. I don't know what's going to happen with parity now, or what they're calling, I guess, open Ethereum or whatnot, since parity technologies are, from what I understand, no longer going to like support development of parity specifically on Ethereum. And what does that mean for client diversity in terms of the Ethereum network? So yeah, it's interesting. There are other wider implications of that as well, because I don't think Geth supports like proof of authority at all. So Kovan potentially may just go away, or what's going to happen with the core Geth team, and what features they're going to continue to implement. So
it's quite humorous to me how unstable all these different clients seem to be in terms of teams versus how critical they are. But that's
yeah.
Another, when I watch like Pieter from the Geth team, get all up in arms about stuff and parity. Yeah. Anyways, this is just a social / technical issue I'm just trying to watch out for.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. It has huge implications.
Yeah. Maybe we should really have DAOs that somehow manage these things, or I don't know. Not weird teams, but yeah, we'll see.
Exactly.
Oh no, yeah, no worries. So yeah, pretty much open floor at this point. I just added this, or I'm trying to add this bot. I don't know why it's not sending the Kovan.
Hey JD, can you please click on that debug log mode? I just want to see.
Yeah, great. So this is another important piece of Node-RED is the debug log. It like this is where you live if anything is not working. You just hit this little bug in the right corner, and it gives you all these like really useful messages that you can open up and find more information.
Yeah. So actually, it's sending the contract. Let's make sure the channel names are correct. So
Okay.
can you verify on the create message the channel name is?
So test bot channel, and I actually lost it over here. I don't know where it. Maybe I might just create a new channel real quick, or if I add it. I think this. I wonder if this raid gated chat is a private or a public channel. Let's see if I just add the raid gated chat.
Oh, there it is. Sending some messages to there.
Where is it?
On actually, it's sending on my. Okay.
So yeah,
part of my.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Here, I'll make another one that's not private. So.
So can we use private channels, or does it kind of break with private channels?
You can use private channels.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's definitely part of the point for, you know, we have like our collab land bot, which we'll also show you guys soon, but that will be able to permission access by giving different roles to people based on the tokens that they own.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. So they'll have like different, you know, views of Discord based on their token ownership.
Yeah. Does it have to listen for events, or can it ping the contract? I'm thinking about like in the Molochs, right? You have the certain modifiers, which basically track whether a member is like a member or a shareholder or whatnot. Is there a way to kind of like, like ping arrays within a smart contract, or does it have to listen for events?
That's a good question. I imagine there is a way. Do you, does that make sense to you, Alok or James? Can the bot ping arrays in contracts rather than just listening to events?
Can it?
Yeah, or I guess
right?
better put, like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was on mute. JD and I, James and I, are like sitting next to each other, so we got to play this mute dance as they get this horrible echo. So I apologize. Can you repeat that question one more time?
Yeah. So, like our Moloch function has, or Moloch contract has arrays that keep track of the members. Drip drop has the same thing. And then there are obviously all those like getter functions where you can like get member information for a specific member, etc. Can the bot call those, or does it have to listen for events?
No, it can call those actually, and maybe we can save this for another tutorial, because this is just the beginning of scratching the surface. What we have done just in the kind of ethos of no code is we've also integrated Airtable with the bot system and essentially replicated what the graph protocol does in terms of caching. So you can actually have a log history, save these events, be able to call methods at intervals or certain times, and then save them to a no-code database. The reason why we like Airtable is because you can create what they call these custom bases, or not bases, I forgot what they call, blocks actually. And you can visualize data. So you can create graphs and charts and a bunch of things that like databases, you know, and then it allows for non-developers to come in there and like filter, and it has a really good UI. So I might be like an analyst, I might not know how to code. So instead of having to ask someone, can you write this subgraph query for me? They can go into Airtable and they can, you know, poke around and they might not be able to do everything that they want to do, but they can get like 60-70% of the way there. So we found that like using no code is like super powerful because it lowers the barrier for not only like development and creating these flows really quickly, but to be able to analyze and track what has happened so that you can easily say, okay, well, for this proposal, how many people voted yes, who voted no, be able to track addresses and things like that. That it would take a bit of time to do if you were to write like a subgraph query specifically for that like type of analysis. And so we think that, using Airtable or no code platforms from like a data caching perspective is also going to be quite powerful, along with like these logic graphs that interact, read, write with the blockchain.
Cool. Yeah, I like that idea of, saving a lot more of the analytical data in an Airtable rather than having to do like a subgraph query.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little bit more like, I guess, centralized in a sense, but we're just tracking blockchain data. Anyone could like replicate this. So in that way, we're not trying to compete with like the graph protocol or whatnot. It's like very bespoke. And I think it's just, I think graph protocol definitely has its place and they've done a great job. I think that, this Airtable caching mechanism, serves like a more custom fine-grained experience for projects that, want to like need analytics very quickly and may not have like the resources of developers that are familiar with the graph or GraphQL or, I forget what, it's not TypeScript, but it's assembly script and things like that.
Cool. And then in terms of like how to start getting set up on this, like what are the steps to set up a Node-RED and then, like start hacking away using what you guys have built?
Yeah, so JD is going to nodered.org, and it's just installing this. If you want to run this in the cloud, you just install it on like an AWS server. You can install it locally and play with it. We also have a Node-RED module called ABI Parser that we'll maybe even have another tutorial on, that allows someone with just an Etherscan link, as long as that contract has been verified on Etherscan, to slurp up the ABI and like provide a visual way of like looking at all the method calls. So just like an Etherscan, what you can do if a contract is verified is you can interact with that contract on Etherscan itself. And so what we've leveraged is that saving and reading of the ABI from Etherscan. So within Node-RED, you can like visually read and write method calls on a contract without having to know anything except for that Etherscan link for that contract, if it's verified.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we built a lot of this internally, and it helps us move really fast. And what we want to do is try to figure out how do we get this into the hands of like other developers that may not be just wanting to do like low-level Solidity, but want to like really, I guess, take advantage of money Legos and just leverage what other people have done. And we thought that like LexDAO would be the perfect project or group to do this. So we'd love to be able to figure out how we can collaborate more and like get those learnings. It may not happen in just one workshop session, but maybe an ongoing dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I'm super excited about what you guys are doing and like love the collab bot and love the idea of more and more DAOs just kind of primarily living in a chat function and then maybe having like a Pokemon site or something for reference. But I think interaction through Telegram or Discord makes a ton of sense. So like super excited to dig in and help.
Yeah. And we want to, cool. Yeah, maybe we should set up something, more formal in terms of like tutorials and help sessions and whatnot. I think that might be useful.
Yeah, and so I threw in the link to the DAO help repo, which we do have a really complex flow of the Collab 19. So this is the full Aragon DAO flow. There's probably 3 or 4 teams that have actually started building on this separately. Oh, I see. There's 3 forks now. So there's a lot of people who are starting to learn and understand it. And this is like a much more complex flow. We wanted to start out somewhere simple to like just get your all's bearings, and so you guys can maybe start playing with it and like learning yourself and trying things and breaking things. Because this flow that's within the DAO ops here is really, it's a beast. It's there's just a lot going on, and it's a lot to consume. There's probably like 15 different tabs that have like, you know, 3 times as many nodes that you find here throughout that flow. So it's a lot more complex, but also happy to like go through that at some point. And yeah, as James said, I think we're starting to build up that educational material to kind of get people's foot in the door, and then continuing to iterate and find what they find most useful and most helpful and most interesting, really, and fun to use. And so we'll keep building that out, and would love to kind of work with you guys on making that useful and getting feedback.
Yeah, and I'll pass it off to kind of like Ross and others, but one thing that might be cool for us is it seems like this demo flow gives us an easy way to like start listening to contracts and porting it into a Discord. And so maybe we can like hack on this and then like schedule a follow-up, or hack on this to listen to like a Moloch that we created, because Ross has launched one of our 2x Molochs for Lex now. And then we can like do another session to figure out and look at the collab bot thing, how to like start listening or like calling the Moloch and getting like those informations, and then like integrating MetaMask and integrating like actually interacting and voting on stuff and donating, etc.
Totally, that'd be great. And I think that'd be a perfect kind of first step. Alok, would you want to run through sort of how the ABI, how you'd add a Moloch ABI here? And awesome.
Yeah, so you add it. Just go ahead. Just add it and name it like global. So the ABI is available all the way. So click down the message, drop down, and it should be just global. And then name it like ABI dot something. Not just so we make it like. Identify ABI.Moloch, and here on the second drop down to make it as a JSON. No, just drop down where it says A to Z. Yeah, drop down and JSON. Yeah, and click on those 3 dots. And here you put the ABI, Moloch ABI.
Cool,
sweet.
Yeah, that's pretty easy.
Yeah, and once we add that ABI, and so and you click done, and here in the change 4 rules, it is click on that, and here we want to pass the ABI. So here it is going to be global dot ABI dot die. Instead of that, it is going to be global dot Moloch dot ABI dot Moloch. Moloch.
So is it possible to listen to both? So if I added another global set?
So you no. So you have to create one more. We can do that, but not here. So it's cancel it.
Oh, right. I have to like just create another.
Yeah, right, like that. Yes.
Yeah, cool.
And then change this to Moloch.
Yeah, ABI.Moloch.
It's like ABI.Moloch.
Yeah, ABI.Moloch, and then the address of the contract.
And change that address. Sweet. And then depending on the network that you deployed it on,
yes,
you know,
right.
I don't know if it's Rinkeby or mainnet.
Yeah, we seem to be like a Rinkeby family.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All that Aragon. Sweet.
Yeah,
and then so you pretty much would just add that Moloch contract then.
Yeah, and then we have to connect with the contract event listener.
Right. And so so what you can do actually is
like that,
create a Moloch flow
Yes.
You just would create that malloc flow down here so that die flow can keep running, but then you just piece that there.
Yes, that's right. That's good.
Sweet. So yeah, feel free to kind of play around with this and add as many ABIs as you want and contracts. And I think that'd be a good place to kind of start and like learn how to just make these listening systems. And then happy to get into the way that you can link accounts like MetaMask and maybe the Abridged SDK eventually. But I think maybe the next step would be linking MetaMask, and I kind of, let me see, I had a few ideas. Ultimately, would love to get crypto voxels set up, but yeah, MetaMask linking and token verification. That might be the next sort of step as to like make this conceptually more robust and functionally more robust.
Cool. Yeah.
Neat.
Should we continue the series like same time next week, or?
Yeah, I think that sounds great. Let's just make this a weekly thing, and we'd love to kind of keep iterating and keep developing and learning together.
Yeah, I'm super pumped.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, yeah, if anyone has any other questions, happy to answer. Otherwise, we can kind of, I'll just make this event continuous, the current calendar event. And if you have other people who want to join, feel free. We can make this a pretty casual kind of weekly sync up.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, and like, yeah, just being able to connect bots to DAOs is gonna, like Ross said, accelerate what we can do, make us really dangerous.
Yeah, no, totally agree. Yeah, I think that's definitely the exciting evolution of what we're experimenting with. So
yeah,
super stoked about it.
Well, cool.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining, everybody. Really appreciate your all's thoughts and listening and working with us. I'll throw this video into a YouTube channel or a YouTube link and send it over in that raid, the raid gilded or the gated chat channel in the LexDAO. And otherwise we can sync again next week, and we'll have another little tidbit to share.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks for taking the time to do this with us.
Yeah, our pleasure.
Should we kick over to Discord if people have time to kind of take a look at what we've whipped up for Moloch DAO upgrades, the version 2x.
Yep, that'd be awesome. Plus, I want to see how you verify contracts, Ross, because
that could be the whole
time.
like takeaway educational part of it. But I also just want to kind of look